Chapter 1. Gift of Wonder. A fairly long chapter in which Grace has a lot to learn. Ask Grace about her first memories and she'll be sure to say, lying awake early on bright summer mornings while the trees touched clouds and hid the sky behind their glossy coats. Roses rambled up and around the open windows, nodding to each other and keeping an eye on her. She could hear bees up and about and busy so long before her, buzzing into rose hearts to gather nectar for honey. Some settled a moment on her window ledges. Had they stopped to wonder who or what she was before going home to their white hives beyond the long orchard? Often a swallow perched on her lowered window. Mr. or Mrs.? She couldn't tell. It twittered, bowed, and flew up to its mud hut nest under the eaves, rough to look at, satin smooth inside. She knew they came to live here every summer, hatched a family, and took it overseas to warmer lands. She didn't yet know that travelling far and wide made these birds wiser than those who only lived in one place. They knew that Grace was no ordinary little girl. How thoughtful she was, her delight in sights and sounds of summer mornings. So they must soon tell the earth guardians and guides who looked after plants, flowers and seeds how at an early age she was content just to wander. Perhaps she'd be visited with gifts and advice. So hidden and quiet are these beings that people like you or me seldom notice them, and no one's sure what shape or form they'll take. They only ever talk to tell us something important, set a task or a test. But swallows, as they dip and swerve and swoop for bugs can see them, know when to make them listen or ask favours in return for news from their travels. Best not to disturb them in broad daylight when they watch over everything that grows green, then dies down for a long rest or to make way for something stronger and brighter. Wait for dawns when the moon still shines and their dancing and singing in open fields or woodland glades is over. Dances that might be the rustle of birds through crisp leaves, songs like a gentle wind shuffling through blades of grass. For a moment they sit in circles to prepare another day of clothing and adorning the earth. Then they'll listen and talk and give advice which may or may not be easy to understand at once. And to the wise birds with their rose-dyed fronts, sharp wings and forked tails they listened intently, happy to hear about Grace and how, without knowing, she delighted in the way they coloured and cared for the living earth. 9 of their lively company would visit her at sunrise when she lies awake, watching and listening as the world comes alive. As they glided through blossoming orchards and gardens to the old, rambling house where Grace lived, birds had begun their full early summer song. Dew-laden leaves sparkled gold in dawn's slanting light, and the guardians breathed with delight fresh scents from flowers they loved and tended. It was like the unspoiled dawn of time we often dream about but can't quite believe in, knowing the wonders of planet Earth's long, slow unfolding. Grace lay watching a low sunset light to walnut and mulberry trees so they looked like bouquets of green fire clutched by black fingers, the long shadows of chimney stacks, when suddenly she noticed an altogether brighter light blaze up between her bed and windows.